In life, I've learned the value of being patient, gathering my thoughts, then responding. My objective is always to be slow to take offense, but always be ready for reconciliation. And so I am here today to share my thoughts on all of the things that have transpired over the past few weeks. And I am sure we have heard that the Black community is disproportionately impacted by the coronavirus, not because it targets individuals by race, but because of the systemic and institutional structures that have been established by the government, relegating us to neighborhoods that lack resources. Our communities often lack doctors, quality healthcare facilities, industries and businesses like well-stocked grocery stores that could improve the well-being of our community. So we are left with a bad bill of health, often from diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and the list goes on because the underlying issue in this country has been poverty and lack of opportunity for the people that have contributed so much to this country while receiving the least in return. When we go into our communities, we see people dealing with symptoms and situations that would make any person sick. Communities that have been attacked and profiled, harassed and disrespected with no consideration. Those in power unjustly mishandle case after case, and so our limited access to the already plagued economy, the damage of the social welfare programs that exist, and witness of injustice after injustice creates more and more obstacles in our pursuit, striving to remain healthy. So knowing this, you would think our politicians and law enforcement would create policies that considers the health, economic well-being, and social factors of our people while doing their job, but they do not. Instead, they continue to dehumanize our community while denying responsibility for the current state of Black people in this country. In fact, this nation and its corporations have often denied any reparative work that could be done and continues to expect our assimilation in this nation while leaving us often at the bottom of society. What's more disturbing is that we live in a society where the medical examiners chose to focus on the underlying health issues of George Floyd instead of the knee and the bruising that was likely found on his neck. Common sense would suggest handling individuals from this community carefully. But in America, the opposite is true. We just want to live. We just want to protect ourselves. But the fear we face is that officers could care less about our health and well-being. Policing in the Black community has often meant ignoring and maintaining a disregard for the systematic oppression that we face. Sadly, every day our police officers are equipped with tools that are intended to cause individuals harm and not enough tools that will bring peace to the communities. They're given guns, they're given tasers, batons, pepper spray, and generally backup intended to help protect the officer and maintaining the status quo opposed to the citizen, treating us as guilty until proven innocent instead of ensuring the safety of those that are being questioned or detained. This makes it difficult for us to determine whether an officer is here to help us or harm us physically. And what bothers me most with the murder of our brother George Floyd is the way that the officers can confront Black people with such disregard. Literally every officer present for his death was okay with him being placed face down on dirty pavement while cuffed. Hearing him say, "I can't breathe," while a knee crushed his windpipe, and seeing the fluids within his body stream down the pavement as the last bit of life left his body. So unfortunately, there was no consideration for his pre-existing health conditions in that moment. The officers neglected the safety of this man being detained, yet most cities consider officers as peace officers. And finally, after his last breath, these officers heard no words, saw no movement or resistance, and did not even feel a pulse. Yet these officers did not even attempt to resuscitate this citizen that they took an oath to protect. And here we are in the aftermath of this tragedy, another unjust loss of life. As I reflected on this moment, I challenged myself as I challenge everyone else to do the same thing, just to come up with solutions in addition to the protest. Because if we recognize that the health conditions we face arise from a greater issue of economical inequality, we must strive for economic stability in this country, not just as individuals, but as a community. We must strive to protect ourselves and one another. We must also challenge officials to make structural changes to protect the citizens which exist within society. Therefore, today there are changes that we should represent in this moment. First, police, as servants of the public, should not be unionized. No government entity should be unionized because they serve the public interest. Second, police misconduct should be reviewed by human rights boards instead of relying solely on internal investigations. Next, police brutality should be considered a federal offense because it is nearly impossible for state or local governments to not lean towards their side of the individuals that they employ. And that has been proven time after time and case after case in every state that we look at. Also, all government jobs should reflect the demographics of its community and require police to live in the community where they serve. And lastly, the application of lethal and violent force should be the very last resort. And while these are only a few possible changes that could improve the society in which we all exist, this may help us to solve one of the greatest issues facing our country, and hopefully help us to save some more lives. This tragedy has given us all a moment to reflect, to truly examine some things that have been wrong in this society, and mobilize to make the changes that we need to create a safer and more just society for our families and even all communities. With hope, I believe the relationship between law enforcement and community can blossom. As a black man, pastor, and a father-to-be, all I want to ensure is that everyone living in this society can experience what is fair and what is just. As a nation that touts it was founded on Christian beliefs, today we all should reflect how the least of us in this country have often been treated. The first chapter of Isaiah teaches us that we need to learn to do good, seek justice, rebuke the oppressor, defend the fatherless, and plead for the widow. Come now, let us reason together. All I'm doing today is asking that we all come to the table and let us begin to reason together so that we can fix the things that are broken in our society. From a place of love, take care.